Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen, Louis D'Souza here on this Monday, November the 12th, 2018. It is 8 a.m. New York time. That's 5 a.m. Los Angeles time, or for those who keeping score, that's 1 p.m. London time. So we cover the gamut that way, and we are off to a racing start here during the work week and the play week and whatever kind of week you're having, because we have a special event going on today. We are going to explore the world of Jin Shin Jyutsu, which Louis has introduced us to on prior occasions, but today we also have an expert that he has brought in. And Louis, first of all, hello, how you doing?
Morning, Walt, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Hope you've been having a good week and a good weekend and so forth.
Fantastic weekend, thanks.
That's
really,
a good thing.
Really good.
All right.
Great weather.
I'm going to let you introduce our guest because you're the one who brought her in, and you know her particularly well, and I don't know her except for the last 10 minutes, so I think you're the one to introduce her.
Yeah, sure, Walt, no problem. It's very easy to introduce her. So a long-time friend and Jin Shin Jyutsu practitioner. We did our courses together, etc., and we became very good friends. And then she married my brother, so she is now my sister-in-law. She has a great Jin Shin Jyutsu website, and love her to bits. She's absolutely brilliant person. She is what I would consider one of the best practitioners that I've ever experienced that has done Jin Shin Jyutsu on me. So, yeah, I'm introducing my sister-in-law, Astrid D'Souza.
All right. Hello, Astrid. Welcome to the show.
Hello, guys. It's very nice to be here with you.
And I just realized I want to get the video recorded, too, so I'm going to start video recording here.
Recording has started.
Okay, so Jin Shin Jyutsu, tell us, you're the master here, so we have to go to the master first. Tell us about what is Jin Shin Jyutsu and why is it important to us?
Well, first of all, there aren't any masters except the person who actually rediscovered Jin Shin Jyutsu. That was Master Jiro Murai, and he came from Japan. He was born in 1886 in Japan, and he was terminally ill around the age of 26, which is a very interesting age. And he practiced some mudras, which are finger positions, and then after 7 days, he became well, and he vowed to explore what he called Jin Shin Jyutsu, which was the this universal art, the art of the creator through the man of knowing and compassion. So Jin Shin Jyutsu is a form of an approach of harmonizing the life energy in the body by using the fingers and hands. And it can be applied by a practitioner, but it can also be learned as self-help. So it's something that we already naturally do. The wisdom of the body already tells us what to do with our hands to help ourselves. But the interesting thing is that when we become consciously aware of how to help ourselves, where to place the hands on the body, how to use the self-help, then we can become conscious of what we're doing and do more of it so that we can get better results. So, for instance, when you look at someone, you will see very often that they are holding their fingers. You know, politicians stand a lot like this. And what they are doing is they're holding the finger that harmonizes fear, anxiety, nerves, and middle finger, which is anger.
Not surprising.
So, not surprising, but it's interesting how we use these fingers in our societies, in our culture. So in England, when you tell someone to sort of, go away, we use two fingers we show two fingers, and in America, you use one,
mm-hmm.
The middle one.
Mm-hmm.
So I say to people, well, instead of doing that, just hold your fingers. But it's very interesting when you see people who have never heard of Jin Shin Jyutsu, they are in brilliant, beautiful Jin Shin Jyutsu self-help positions. A lot of people who speak in public will be calming themselves before they go on, like Angela Merkel, the German politician, she will stand there waiting to go on, and she will be holding her fingers, just comfortably holding her fingers, and then she goes on and she has authority, she's calm, she comes across clearly. So it's something that we already do. You know, when I am stressed or when someone is stressed, they automatically go to this area on the forehead. And this area on the forehead is one of the 26 safety energy locks, which we call safety energy locks, and they are concentrated spheres of energy that we have on the body. Each safety energy lock has a name, a function, a vibration, a meaning, and a special location on the body. So we can use those to help ourselves.
Wow.
So it's all very exciting and very interesting stuff. And it becomes, you know, I'm a very practical person, so I like things to work quickly and effectively. When I have a headache, when I'm in pain, I want it cleared. I want it gone. And with Jin Shin Jyutsu, as Louis will know, it is constantly a source of amazement to me at how quickly the body responds to placing the hands in the right places to help yourselves or help others.
Now, I'm curious. You mentioned politicians early on there, which you can see. It does make sense that, you know, that would work for them. I wonder how many of them are doing that consciously, though. I mean, do you have any sense of that? Are they just doing it because they just discovered it on their own? Or do you think there's actually some Jin Shin Jyutsu masters within the world of politics?
Well, the thing about Jin Shin Jyutsu, even though it has this kind of exotic name, is that it is a universal art. It is as old as we are. It is part of our human makeup. So the wisdom of our body is already talking to us. It's just that we're not aware of it. So even though 99% of the population have no awareness of this thing that we call this practice, this art that we call Jin Shin Jyutsu, they will already be using it. Babies suck their thumbs because they are already using the wisdom of their body to help their digestion, to help their energy, to calm themselves down, because actually the thumb, when you hold it, helps clear and harmonize worry, it helps the digestion, and 14,400 other functions, okay? So each finger helps 14,400 energy functions in the body. So if you hold each finger for a few minutes, you will give yourself a complete treatment, because we have 144,000 energy functions in the body. And that's the long study of Jin Shin Jyutsu, is to get to know those 144,000 functions and clear the body, clear the mind, clear the emotions of what is happening.
Interesting. Now, is there a difference between using one hand versus the other, or is the ambidextrousness just true for the art as well?
No, not really. I mean, I've got into the habit of using my left hand because the left side sort of helps, kickstarts the activity on the right side. So I tend to start with my left hand. But if there's a lot of tension on the right-hand side and you feel that there's more tension on the right-hand side, then go and do the right side first. So there aren't any rules. Whatever feels comfortable, just hold and relax. There's no pressure, there's no manipulation, there's no pulling, there's no pushing. It's just wrap your hand around the finger, whichever finger you want, and then just go with it.
Okay. Now, most of us are going to be pretty curious about, not most of us, I shouldn't say that. There are a lot of people who are not going to be curious about this. But there are going to be some people who are going to be curious about, are there any studies about this? Or is there any scientific evidence behind it? Can you tell us anything about that?
Yes. There are lots of studies that are being conducted, particularly in the United States. And there is ongoing research into the ability of Jin Shin Jyutsu to help, especially with cancer treatments and people who are undergoing cancer treatments. So on a very basic level, they did a research study that showed that patients who were having chemotherapy, when they held their thumb during chemotherapy, showed less negative effects of the chemotherapy, so less nausea, less anxiety, etc., more energy. So that is a study that was conducted at that level, and there are other studies that have been conducted. And you know, in my practice, what is really interesting with, for instance, people who are undergoing cancer treatments, when they have tests done, their levels will show increased benefits. So, you know, their markers will be down from the normal. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and yes, studies have been conducted and are ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you said in your practice, so I presume you see a fair number of people about this. What do you tend to get people coming to you for regarding this art most often? I mean, what's the most common complaint or the most common category of complaints that people have that they're coming to you for, hoping that you can help them?
Well, it's very interesting. Sometimes I get clusters of people coming because they have very tight shoulders, or they have very tight hips, or they've got hip problems, but it's Jin Shin Jyutsu is not about treating a label. So therefore, it doesn't matter what label someone has, they will always benefit from a treatment. Now, I know that sounds like, you know, it's like it could treat everything, but it can, because it works. The interesting thing about Jin Shin Jyutsu is that it works on the mental, emotional, and physical level all at the same time. So sometimes I will, if someone comes with a body complaint, then I will work slightly differently from when someone comes with an emotional issue or a grief or you know, a lot of a fuzzy head, or it just depends. It just depends what they come in with. So I see children from as young as 5, and my clients go all the way up to 85, which is quite nice.
Yeah, that is. You get the full gamut that way. Grandchildren to grandmothers.
I do, and it's lovely. Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. And what I really like doing is treating children and their parents, because then you get this lovely, harmonious sort of dynamic that goes on. You know, if there's been some tension, it just really helps to settle everyone down. So there's something very interesting about Jin Shin Jyutsu, where when you harmonize your energy, it harmonizes your environment as well. And I've got a couple of stories about that.
Do tell.
So for instance, one of my clients who comes to see me once a week, her husband started becoming a bit sort of grouchy. So she was like, God, what is wrong? What is happening? You know, he was very grouchy. So I said to her, well, you know what? When you sit comfortably in your chair, just hold your middle finger. Just relax. Sit there and hold your middle finger. And the next week she came in, and she couldn't wait to come in and tell me what had happened, because basically she started doing this, and within a few hours he completely changed. He just settled down, and just everything was fine again. And she said, I couldn't believe it, but it seems to have worked. And you know, she kept doing it, and it was fine. It was fine.
It's interesting.
So it's a very interesting and dynamic, you know, that to see this in action, to see how when you change your own energy, it's because you are a mirror to and you know, this, we can go from here to the law of attraction as well, because you know, there's all of that dynamic.
Absolutely, yeah, because what you're really describing is what LOA people would call energy entraining unto itself, and the impact, the effects that our energy has on others and that other people's energy has on us. But we often don't think of it actually, we rarely don't think of it or we rarely think of it, I should say, in terms of my energy, my negative energy impacting somebody else negatively, and they're demonstrating a negative reaction, and it was us that was doing it. We don't usually think about it that way, but that's kind of what your story describes. I mean, it was something about her. She was giving off something. He was feeling grumpy as a result, and she said, well, why is he so grumpy?
Exactly. And, these can be subconscious things as well. Not that we're consciously aware of them, but there's something that's slightly out of alignment, out of harmony. And this is a new way of looking at the body, at looking at a person, or a new way. It's a retraining. Because the body follows what the energy is doing. Whether that's someone who's very reactive, and it takes a bit of awareness to say, if someone's very reactive and they're reacting against me, then to say, they just need to harmonize that, whatever they need to harmonize. It takes a bit of awareness, but that's exactly what I see in my practice. If someone's very reactive, or if I get very reactive, then I know I need to harmonize the crossing energies, which we call the mediator. So I look at it in terms, so what Mary Burmeister said, she was the foremost teacher of Jin Shin Jyutsu, who brought Jin Shin Jyutsu from Japan to America, and then from there, it's gone sort of worldwide. She said that, now I've lost my train of thought. So many things going on in my mind.
That's all right.
But
Take your time.
She basically brought the art to the West. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to kind of become aware of, what is my body telling me? What is my body telling me, or what is my mind telling me? What are my emotions telling me? But there's always something that you can do to harmonize that.
And all from holding the fingers, and you were describing, and Louis has described this too, how each finger it kind of addresses a different kind of state. Can you kind of run through them? What do the 5 fingers address? What are they about?
Okay, so the attitudes that we call them attitudes. So the attitude of worry relates to the thumb. The attitude of fear relates to the index finger. The attitude of anger relates to the middle finger. Grief relates to the ring finger. And trying to's, or as I call it, efforting. So efforting is always, is your life efforting, or is it effortless? Mm. When you feel that you're efforting, it's a totally different feeling from when it all flows and it feels effortless. And that's about me time. That's about if I'm trying to please everyone, or I'm trying to, and people who say I am trying to all the time, I ask them please to hold their little finger. When we become stuck in an attitude, then problems or projects can arise. And I think that's what I was trying to remember about what Mary Burmeister said, is that when we have an issue, it's not so much a problem, it's a project, because a project is something that we can work on. A problem is something that happens to us. So when we're dealing with a project, we have the capability and the tools to make a problem into a project, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, sure.
Which goes back to law of attraction, which when you know what you don't want, you have a better idea of what you do want.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. True. And Jin Shin Jyutsu provides the tool to get you to where you do want to be. So say I'm worried about something I don't want. I'm worried about getting something I don't want, say. I'm just off the top of my head. So harmonize that worry, and we're in a place of allowance, of non-resistance, where we can go into step 3 and just allow. And that's what Jin Shin Jyutsu really, when it really comes into its own, it's that just, in terms of LOA, it's allowing, it's getting you into that place of non-resistance. because
Astrid.
it just helps you get you out of your mind. Sorry,
Astrid,
yes, Louis.
I'd love to tell them a story about, and I'm repeating it, I think I've told it once before, about the thumb. When I was on a flight to Rome, I had a lady sitting next to me who was incredibly fearful, and I could see she was really uncomfortable to the nth degree. I've never really seen that level of discomfort before. So knowing Jin Shin, I leaned over and I said to her, "Would you like to try something really simple?" She looked at me and I said, "Just hold your thumb." She said, "What? Why?" I said, "Just trust me. Just do it. What have you got to lose?" So she grabbed her thumb and started holding it. And she was still very, very nervous at takeoff and all the rest of it. And then when the seatbelt sign went off, she turned to me and said, "What is this? I've never been so calm on a flight before. Oh, I want to know exactly what's going on. Tell me. So gently over the course of the flight, I started to explain to her the other fingers and all the rest of it. But the interesting thing was she never let go of the thumb. She was holding the thumb the whole time, even carrying her suitcase with the one hand, still holding the thumb as she was walking off. Interestingly enough, I don't believe she remembers anything I said about the other fingers, okay? She did nothing else. This was just incredible for her, absolutely mind-blowing. And Jin Shin Jyutsu is incredibly effective when there's extreme circumstances like that.
Yes, and that reminds me of another story of someone on a flight when I was sitting next to a gentleman, and he was in the window seat, I was in the middle, and then I had my husband next to me. But this guy next to me in the window seat, he was about 6'3", and he looked like he was quite, he was sitting in the seat. But I noticed he had this really calm aura about him. And I'm sure he didn't know anything about Jin Shin Jyutsu, but maybe he did, because he was holding his thumb. And he just was he looked like he wasn't at all bothered by the fact that he was in this little seat, stuck in the window seat. He looked completely comfortable, even though he was physically, he was quite, he was sort of on the, cramped, that's it, yeah. It's really interesting. It really is interesting.
That's a feeling I know well. I have been on flights. Astrid, I'm 6'8", so you can imagine on flights.
You are, Walt.
Oh
my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm always looking for lots of leg room. That's always the top priority if I can get it. And I know exactly how that feels. But I remember there was a flight where I wish I had known this on this particular flight. Louise and I were flying from Washington D.C. to Seattle, Washington, across the country. And in the second leg of our flight, we were in the back of the plane in some of the most uncomfortable seats you could possibly imagine for somebody of my height. It was so bad that the stewardess actually came to me and said, if you'd like to stand, it would be okay, because she could tell how much discomfort I was in. It was just, there was nowhere for me to go. I couldn't bring my legs up high enough in order for the person in front of me who was putting their seat back to get my legs out of the way. It was in pure physical agony. And I kind of wish I'd known this at that point, because even when I stood up because of my height, I couldn't stand to my full height because my head would hit. So it was like a double punishment going on. That would have helped me a lot.
I feel for you. I really do. Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? What's hand wringing all about? Because there are some people who wring their hands and they do it nervously and maybe even compulsively. How does that relate?
Like that, yeah. Well, it's not something that we do in Jin Shin Jyutsu, but it's something that that is stimulating. It's a habit. It's a habit that they've got into.
Well, Astrid,
I can't.
I have to admit that if holding your hands like that.
Well, yes, exactly.
I've often done that, and it's extremely calming. Extremely calming.
Yes, because if you can't, yes, and actually that's something that I was going to mention.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have time to hold all your fingers, then the shortcut is to hold the center of the palm. So if you want to harmonize all 144,000 functions as a quick stop, just place your fingers in the palm of your hand and just relax. And you can do, as Louis did, that, or you can just do that. And that will calm everything. And that area is also for despondency and fatigue. So if you feel fatigued or despondent or low or blue, that really will help. Simple.
Very good. Sorry about that. I had an attack of the sneezes there. I had to go hide away.
Astrid, I have a question. I don't know if I've ever asked you before, but how did you come across Jin Shin Jyutsu?
Well, I came from a corporate background. I was in advertising many years ago in another life, and I started studying aromatherapy. So actually that was a really good place to start because it allowed me to study the body, so pathology and massage and et cetera, anatomy and physiology, yes. And so when I was finishing my aromatherapy studies, I was still working full time in advertising. I had kind of an experience with energy, and I started looking for something to do with this energy. So I tried spiritual healing and Reiki and learned about how energy works a little bit. But it never felt like it was complete. I like structure, and I like, something practical, and it just felt like I was still looking for something. And then I had the gift of migraine headaches.
Oh dear.
When I was
I love the wording.
Because I went from advertising into the city, and I was working in a banking world that was very contrary to where I wanted to be, but it was allowing me to transition into my practice. But anyway, I got these migraines because I was going against my grain. Okay.
I love that.
And
yes.
yeah. And someone said to me, "Well, why don't you try Jin Shin Jyutsu?" And I said, "Jin what?"
Yeah, right.
Never heard of it. So I borrowed her book. The book that you can buy on Amazon is called The Touch of Healing by Alice Burmeister, Mary Burmeister's then daughter-in-law. And it covers, it's a beautifully written book. But anyway, I digress. And so I went to the index of this book, and I looked up migraine headache, and it said hold SEL 18 and then SEL 16. And I had no idea what that referred to, so I thought, well, I guess I better go and read the book to find out what that's about. And I did actually do those very simple exercises. SEL 18 is one of the safety energy locks, one of the energy sites that we use to clear the head. So if you've got a headache or tightness in the head or anything like that, tension, just place your fingers at the base of the thumb and then just relax. And then the other self-help hold that goes along with that to clear the migraine is on the outside of the heel. So you go all the way down to the body, to the foot, and you place your fingers on the outside of the heel. And I did this. I was at work. I was in front of a computer. I started getting my migraine headache. Went to the loo, did this for 5 minutes, came back, and it was all gone.
Wow.
And I thought, right, this is it.
Yeah.
So after that, I enrolled in a 5-day class, and I was just ready for it. I was just ready to become, to learn and to practice and to become a practitioner. And you have to, it takes a couple of years, to do that, but it resonated with me and I was ready. So that's how I started.
You made me think there are times when, if I have tension, I tend to hold tension in my jaw. So if I'm in a place where all of a sudden I'm feeling that tension in my jaw, is there a hold or something that will help me to release that?
Yes, there is. So we have a complete what we call flow, which is a sequence of holds that can be quite long or quite short. And what I like to do is then find the sort of simplest denominator that will help for issues. So basically, the key is the outside of the elbow, which is another energy lock, and then just hold. So hold the outside of the elbow and place your fingers at the base of the thumb.
Okay.
Okay? Just like that, or like that. Can you see that?
Yep. Yeah, I can see that. Yep. Okay.
Okay. And don't expect it to sort of ease in 5 minutes, although it might. But, quietly sit with it. Close your eyes and, give it 20 minutes if you can. Sort of, and then you'll start sort of easing, feeling an ease, sort of the tension melting away a bit. And if it doesn't work, then, then give me another call and we'll do something a bit longer.
Okay. I will keep that in mind.
But, the interesting thing about Jin Shin Jyutsu is that the effect of what you do on yourself every day is cumulative. So if you hold your fingers every day, the effect is cumulative. And what I mean by that is you start cleaning the body, cleaning the body. There's a whole lot of cleaning to be done. We clean the outside of the body every day, but we don't think of cleaning the inside of the body. And this Jin Shin Jyutsu cleans the inside of the body. And, we can do it every day. Anywhere.
That's the point. Yeah, that's true. You can it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be giving a corporate presentation. You could be doing it and nobody would even know it. That's the best part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Walt,
And very often I do.
Walt, I used
Go
to
ahead,
have
Lee.
a lot of tension in my jaw, and there is not a hint of it anymore. But I use Jin Shin mostly to get rid of it. And also I found, working with LOA and focusing more on what you want, less on what you don't want, just from a mental perspective, extremely benefit for that, because the jaw tension is very much thinking. It's very much overthought and thinking on what you don't want rather than what you want. It's very, very large in that area. And one of the things I did, Astrid, was just hold the outside of the ankle and my jaw with the other hand. So one hand on the outside of the ankle, one on the jaw, just to soften it.
Yeah, because the safety energy lock on the outside of the ankle heel is called transformation. So if you hold it by placing the hand where it hurts or where it's tensed or on anywhere on the body, it will start melting it. It will start easing it. It will start transforming it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just really cool. It's one of my tricks that I use in my practice. Oh, pain is gone. My God. It's really cool.
Now, is this art similar to like the meridians of acupuncture and that sort of thing? Is it working the same kind of stuff, or is it different?
That's a really, really good question. The principles are similar, but the method, the application is completely different. So in acupuncture, the acupuncturist will work with the meridians, and those are the energy pathways that we also will work with because they are part of the 144,000 energy functions in the body. But we work with a different system, so the system of the safety energy locks. So think of it as a river. The energy pathway or the meridian is a river, and the acupuncturist place needles along in the energy pathway, so they can place anywhere along that pathway. They can place needles to clear the congestion or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we work along the river banks, okay? So these safety energy locks are the riverbanks of these energy pathways, and actually it's where the meridians are born. So we just work on another level, and it's just a less dense level. If you can imagine that that energy comes in forms that are more dense or less dense than than others. So, for instance, a table is still energy. It's still got atoms and molecules that are vibrating, but it's vibrating at a much denser level. And so in our body, we've got areas, we've got different levels of vibration. Some things vibrate, at a different level, and the energy also can vibrate at different levels. Does that make sense, or am I getting too complicated here?
No, it's starting to make some sense. I mean, obviously, I'm not an adept at either one, so that does limit things a bit, and probably true for some of the listeners as well. But it does help a bit. Just talk about the dense part, though, because that's the part that I'm tripping on. What exactly do you mean by dense? So is it like you said, energy? There's a denser energy? I'm not quite sure.
Well, they're different densities of energy. So the vibration, when something vibrates at a faster rate, it's a different density of energy. And so, we can also increase our vibration as well. But it's when we work with energy, it can be different levels of energy. That's what I mean.
Walt.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would suggest to give an example is a diamond is one of the hardest substances we know.
Right.
The vibration of that is slow. A table, faster. Air, much faster. Thought, fastest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Non-physical energy of who we come from, source energy, would be the ultimate power, okay, which would be extremely powerful and fine, a very fine energy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you're going from a dense to a less dense medium, and the power of everything of who you are and the whole physical universe comes from that non-physical source energy, which starts manifesting in the body and then starts manifesting in the different rivers, and the different rivers we break down to 144,000, which include things like the 26 safety energy locks, and then something denser like the meridians, and then so on and so forth, because there's a lot of different modalities out there, and some of them use different energies of the body.
So density in this context is inverse to the idea of vibration. The higher vibration, the lower the density, the lower the vibration, the higher the density.
Exactly. Yes.
You could look at it like that, but one thing is important to understand is that you can learn or grow from any of the density. So none of them are wrong or better or
Sure.
right or all the rest of it. You came from pure positive energy to come into this dense physical universe to expand through the contrast, which means the more dense to the less dense. And from the more dense to from both ways around, you learn from contrast either way around.
So the next time that I say, boy, am I dense, I'm actually giving myself a compliment. That's a good thing.
If you're ready to understand step 5 and know what you don't want to get to where you want, 100% right.
This is very good stuff. Interesting, too, that, I mean, I'm kind of surprised we've never really heard about this as a culture. I mean, there is a small group within the culture that knows about this, but I'm just amazed that more people don't know about this. Maybe because it's not something that you can go to the acupuncturist and he can stick needles into you and charge you for sticking needles. But I would have thought that more people would know about this. And 144,000, who the heck's been doing the research? My goodness, that's a lot of subdivisions. So clearly there's been some serious research done here. My mind is blown. I don't understand why it is more people don't know about this. I don't understand why I don't know about this before today, or before I met Louis, actually.
Well, it's a question that a lot of people ask. Yeah, it's a good question.
When the student is ready, the master appears. When something is ready for an individual, they bump into it. So it's just really a journey, and it's right for some people, and other forms of energy techniques are right for others, because the bottom line is working with energy helps relief and release, which is of course the most important step in the law of attraction teaching in step 3. So I was just amazed at how much relief and release I got from Jin Shin Jyutsu. So it's been my prime method of working with energy for how many years now? About 15 years. And I do it daily, and I've never stopped. So, it's simple. I can do it in bed. I can do it anywhere. I can do it standing. I'm doing it right now. It's just so easy, so simple. Once you've just got a little bit of information, you can start practicing it, and then you can go on a one-day course, which are great, a self-help course. Both Astrid and I teach the one-day self-help courses, and then you can go on a 5-day course after that if you want to expand. So, it's really a simple process to go and expand, and I'm sure you'll probably find somebody teaching it in your area.
Yeah, and the thing to remember is that actually, you might not have heard about it, but it is expanding worldwide, and I think technology is helping tremendously to expand Jin Shin Jyutsu to get for people to find it. I think the thing to remember is that because it's a universal art, people do actually practice it. They just don't know that they're doing it, and when people, as Louis says, when people are ready to hear the message, then it just sort of resonates, and it becomes available. It will find you.
But Louis was mentioning a moment ago.
It's not something, you see, Walt, it's not something that you sort of put on a poster and say, Jin Shin Jyutsu, come and get your treatment, or come and find out. It's just not something you do.
Everybody will be expecting a martial arts class.
That's right.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's just not the way. It's just not the way it works. It's yeah.
Watch the Jin Shin Jyutsu master break a board with his middle finger.
Yeah.
Quite. Yes.
When Louis was mentioning a moment ago how he was doing it right now, is there like a pattern that somebody who is not an expert at, who's just hearing this for the first time, that they can just do for themselves on a regular basis? That's a good pattern to do? I mean, is it just work through your fingers, or, if you're not yet at the point where you're ready to learn? Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically I see my role sort of online, offline, like Louis as well, but online, what I've done in the last few years is I've provided a very simple way for people to start working on themselves or on their loved ones or whatever. So my website, flowsforlife.com, has lots and lots and lots of explanations and experiences and different exercises for you to, there's a whole sort of list of categories or index that you can go. If you've got a headache, do this. If you've got a knee pain, do that. So you can start experiencing how it works. And then I have a newsletter as well, so people can get in touch and sort of start learning very easily, and then take it to another level if they want to.
That's flowsforlife.com, flowsforlife.com. So I will put that into the Law of Attraction Change My Life chat, so that anybody who's interested can click the link and go there instantly and see what that's all about. And I know you have you actually have a client you have to go see, so we have to let you go a little bit early today. But thank you so much for coming on board.
I'd love to keep on chatting, and maybe I can come back another time.
We would love that. That would be great.
Inviting myself.
No, absolutely. I love it. Because, I mean, I've learned a whole bunch here.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do, like, the intermediate course next or something. But thank you for the beginner introduction, because that was really, really very good. We appreciate it so much.
Well, I mean, there's lots to talk about. It's there's lots of stories, there's lots of experiences, and it's just wonderful to connect it to LOA as well. And when I do my practice, I very often listen to Abraham as well to give it an extra, poof.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. It's nearly like the day is nearly like a whole miracle. It's just. And life is so good, and life is just, and you're just rampaging through your day. It's just wonderful.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for...
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you
Jin Shin
for
Jyutsu.
taking the time to share. We really appreciate that. And good luck with your client today. And most importantly, do come back. I mean, seriously, you don't have to wait for the invitation. Just come back sometime. Give us a call in, say, tell us a little story about something that happened, because we love that kind of thing. It's great.
Okay. I'd love that. Okay, well, I'll say goodbye, and very nice to meet you, and to all the listeners and viewers, great to have you with us, and yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Astrid.
Thanks for taking the time, Astrid. Really appreciate it.
See, I can always count on you, Louis, to
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I can always count on you, Louis, to bring somebody in who really knows what she's doing.
Bye.
And you did it this time. You brought somebody in who really knows what she's doing, so this is great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And Louis, she was talking about stories. You mentioned that you use this all the time. I imagine you have a story or two to relate that, talks about how you used it to, I don't know, I'm not sure what you used it for, so I don't even know how to introduce it. But
Well, I just wanted to explain how I came into Jin Shin Jyutsu, and the way it was. I know I've mentioned this once before, but I think this is the perfect podcast to mention it again. Is what happened was I was studying something called energy medicine by Donna Eden, and it was taking me quite far, and a really lovely American lady, and I've seen her twice in London. And it's a lot to do with tapping the body and different points and things, and I was getting further with my energy. So I want to go back in my life a little bit. I tried energy when I was 21. I went on a spiritual healing course. The guy, Jan de Vries, was an amazing guy, really, really together. He was a hunchback, and his wife was a beautiful model. And, he was just so full of energy and all the rest of it. And I said, I really don't get this energy stuff, and that's why I'm coming here. And he says, oh, don't worry, by the end of the course, you'll know. The bottom line is I didn't, and I was frustrated and angry that I'd been on this whole course and I did not understand energy at all. So I wanted to mention that to people, because it's not necessarily something you fall across straight away or quickly or easily. And it took me like 20, about another 10, 11, 12 years before I started having some energy experiences of note, or that I would consider. And I was always looking.
Wow. The first word that comes to my mind to describe that is persistent. You were completely persistent. You were determined to get there.
Well, I kind of always felt it was a way to go. And as I explained to you in one of my other podcasts, everything leads to the non-physical. Mm-hmm. Everything. All your study, all your searching, etc., all lands up going non-physical. Actually, bit of a longer story, but Tesla, Tesla.
Nikola Tesla, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, Tesla said when science starts spending time studying the non-physical rather than the physical, they're going to have quantum leaps further forward in science. And I think he said something like within 30 years we would have caught up to everything we've already learned and doubled that or something. So he was very insistent that the non-physical is where it all is, and he was an incredible inventor. I'm watching a TV program on him at the moment. It's incredible. So I went from Donna Eden. Somebody said to me, if you want to take it further, go to Jin Shin Jyutsu. And I said, what's that? And they gave me this little booklet. This booklet was for nurses. It was a very simple, quick and easy thing that nurses can do to, anybody, just touching them in certain places, obviously with their permission, on 2 points of their body and just holding gently. My wife's had numerous success with that as a nurse in the nursing home, just holding certain points for people. And then one of them was for getting rid of warts, and it's just holding 2 places on your foot. So I just held the calf muscle and the ankles literally next to each other. So you've got the ankle in here and you've got the calf muscle here. And you just hold it like that. And I did that for half an hour every day for a week, for 7 days. Mm-hmm. And my 2 warts where I'd had for more than 2 years, one had cut out by a doctor and it just grew straight back. vanished. Not only that it vanished, but my athlete's foot vanished as well. And I was blown away. I knew 100% certain it was Jin Shin Jyutsu. They got rid of this. Absolutely convinced. I'd taken all those medications that the doctors are giving you and those bazooka this Faruka type thingy that we have in this country. And none of that worked, but this worked brilliantly. And then I went on this one-day course, which was fantastic. I really, really loved it. Got so into it that I didn't even go on another one-day course. I went straight on to a 5-day. And I've done about 9 or 10 5 days. I've done 4 3 days, which are special topic courses. And it's taken me something like 15 years to do all that.
Wow.
And I still don't consider myself anything near a master. Okay. I'm still a neophyte. So when other courses offer you a master qualification after a weekend, I frown big time.
I can understand. Yeah. If you go through 15 years and you've learned a lot more than what you can learn in a weekend, yes, I can see that.
And I just love the art. So the art does step 3. It harmonizes you. It takes you from what you don't want. The way I looked at it before Jin Shin Jyutsu was quite interesting. I looked at Jin Shin Jyutsu took you to the foot of the mountain so that you can see the mountain. So it took away all the mist and all the illusions and said, here is your problem. Here is the mountain. You can now know what it is so you can overcome it. And then from the Abraham Hicks teachings, I really realized it was when you don't know what you don't want, you have a better idea what you do want. That's all it was teaching. And it takes you, just by holding the fingers, it takes you to that point of seeing clearly the way forward to what you want. And that is a huge advantage for a lot of people. Before I went on my first 5-day, or on the first 5-day, I was stressed. I had bags under my eyes. I had back problem that if I bent my back too much, I would literally cry in pain to get into the car to get the head the last little bit down.
Ouch.
I had alopecia, which is losing 50-cent piece of hair out of the head in 5 or 6 different places. Just, things like that. Complete loss of hair, 5 places on my head. So no hair. And just fell out. And I went to hair clinics and they said it's stress. And they said this happened a lot after the Second World War and there's a delay factor from the stress and blah, blah, blah. It was quite interesting, actually. But using Jin Shin Jyutsu, increasing my health, learning to breathe, etc., I haven't got any of those spots at all. I don't have any back pain in any shape or form, in any form. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I've improved my eyesight by more than half, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm holding my eye toe, which is the one next to the big toe. So I can sit in the full lotus position, hold my 2 eye toes, with one with each hand. And I did that for a long time. My optometrist, when I said, check my eyes, he said the word interesting 27 times.
Which kind of verifies that this is really intensely interesting to him.
I mean, I had Coke bottles. These things are thin now.
Wow. Well, you've got my attention with that because I don't know if I've told you, I have macular degeneration in my left eye. I'm blind in terms of my straight ahead vision. And so now you're making me wonder, geez, I wonder if I can reverse that because I've been wanting to reverse that for a long time. Even though medical science says I can't, I refuse to believe that. There's got to be a way to do it.
It's incredible how many things I used to think were impossible, I now know are absolutely possible. On a stunning level. I never thought I'd improve my eyesight. Never dreamt. It's not 2020 yet, but I'm working on getting there. And I'm just enjoying the journey. It's been slow after the initial real massive. I think between the one time I went to the optometrist and the other one, it was a 25% increase.
Wow.
And the next one, it was another 25. So I improved my eyesight more than half. And I've had absolutely no degradation for about 15 years.
No kidding.
Well, less than that, for about 12 years now, nothing. It hasn't got much better, but it fluctuates. He'll measure me, and even while I'm sitting there, it'll go from stronger to weaker. And I've
Really?
noticed that myself when I'm looking. When you're more focused on what you want, when you're more in balance, when you're more in harmony, when you're more aligned, as Abram would put it, and I love that word aligned, and that really needs some explanation. Then your eyesight will improve automatically. Okay, your hearing will improve, your smell will improve. Everything improves when you're in alignment. Everything goes better. All your physical functions get better when you're in alignment. So Jin Shin Jyutsu is the key that I have used more than anything. It's helped me with my meditation. It's helped with stilling the mind. Okay, it's very good at that. Very, very good at that. You can imagine if you're calming the worry, your mind is not so busy anymore and it starts stilling. If you're calming your fear, you can imagine you can focus your mind a bit better. If you're calming your anger, you can imagine your thinking is becoming clearer and more relaxed and slows down. So, yeah, Jin Shin Jyutsu, highly recommend it for anybody. It's completely safe, has no side effects. You're only using your hands. And the points that we're talking about are tennis ball size. So they're not small. You can't miss them. You don't have to worry about all that kind of stuff like the pinpricks of the meridians with the acupuncture and acupressure. So, yeah, I don't know if you've got any other questions about it. I'm very happy to answer.
I do have one more. I want to get our messages in before I run out of time, so let me do those first, and then
sure.
I'll come back with my last question. But first of all, for those who are not yet subscribers, please do become a subscriber. This is the kind of fabulous programming that you get whenever you tune into our episodes. And we're doing 11 of them a week, plus sometimes we're doing special episodes. So you want to be a subscriber. We've got links in the descriptions for most of the places where you can see this podcast recording. If you can't find a link there, just go to our homepage of our website at loatoday.net. Or if you know how to search for podcast shows on the software for your particular phone, iPhone or Android phone, just do a search for LOA Today. We'll pop right up. But no matter what way you do it, make sure you become a subscriber so that all of the episodes come streaming right to your device. And for both our newest subscribers and our existing subscribers, please keep putting out there that you're listening to and watching LOAtoday.net onto your favorite social media channels so that more and more people can find out about what we're doing and get their daily dose of happy, which we all so desperately need in order to get into that place of high vibration and good alignment and have the kind of abundant lifestyles we all want and need to have in our lives. And I was doing it again today, Louis. I had to go to the store before the show here to get some milk because we had run out of milk. And while I was driving, I was thinking to myself, wow, what happens when we get to the point, we have 10,000 listeners per month. What happens when it's 10,000 listeners per episode? And I was getting so excited about that and getting into alignment about that. And I'm thinking, oh boy,
Excellent.
It blows my mind when I think about that. But I wanted to ask you, and you're going to have to be a little bit quick because we're running out of time. If somebody they're interested, okay, we've got them intrigued, we've sold them, right? So they want to get started. Yep. What's the best way for somebody just to get started and get some quick results out of this thing so they can try it for themselves?
The simplest way is hold your thumb. I find most people need to harmonize a bit of worry. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to get more complicated than that. Really doesn't. Really doesn't.
That seems to be the beauty of this. It is a very, very simple thing. It's not like you have to study a whole lot, apparently. If you can hold your fingers, you've learned, the basics. We should probably even, I don't know, you tell me if this makes sense. I'm thinking we should probably maybe do some more advanced explorations on other shows at some point. For those people who might be more interested.
No problem whatsoever. I'd love to bring Astrid in again, and we'd take it a bit deeper.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You guys would have to figure out what would be the best route to take, because I'm only an egg, if you know that particular analogy.
We'll crack you open.
We'll crack me open, right? Well, just be kind when you do it. That's all I ask. But this has been great. Thanks for bringing Astrid in. That was really fabulous, and I look forward to continuing the conversation going forward. And I look forward to talking to you in a week or so. So have a great week,
I've just seen a quick message from Astrid. That was fun.
Oh, good. Good. Well, tell her we were enjoying her visit too, and please invite her back. So, okay. Well, we'll see you next time.
Thanks very much, Walt. Have a great week.
You do the same. And we hope that you'll all join us next time as well here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.